Hello walkers, and welcome back to City Walks. Big roaring engine there. The channel where I walk around with you, take you along on my perambulations, and we discover things depending on large part on serendipity. In many cases, I am not an expert in the places where I walk, hence the discovery. In fact, I'm going to flip you around real quick, so hold on. Hi there, my name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your co-discoverer and your proxy walker, co-discoverer, and your virtual tour guide. Co-discoverer because, as I said, we are going to discover some stuff together. Hi there. And actually, I'm going to flip you around again. Hold on. Today, we are back in Helena, Montana. I've walked here before with you guys in various seasons. Today is right at the end of May. It's 7 p.m., 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. It's a beautiful, beautiful evening. Fairly warm for this time of year. And the direct sunlight, of course, is even more so. In fact, I'm going to cross over. Oops. Back over, I guess. There's not a lot on the left side of this street and a fair amount on the right. I think we're on Benton. Right, so we are in the Last Chance Gulch area of Helena, Montana, the capital city. And we're gonna just take a little walk around. Here's my plan is to walk up this way a block, show you some of or 2 blocks actually. You know, some of these restaurants are over here. There's a brewery, a bakery, a pizza place. And then loop back through a park down Last Chance Gulch pedestrian area, which is really beautiful. Lots of outdoor seating and restaurants, shops, that sort of thing. Very quiet, sedate area. I mean, you can tell by the traffic right now how quiet and sedate everything is. We are up here on a job for Traveling Mel, and I thought I'd take a little bit of time to walk around with you guys. The Blackfoot Brewing Company, you can find their beers around Montana. They distribute in cans in grocery stores and stuff. I want to thank our Patreon supporters real quick. Your support is very, very valuable, very encouraging, very much appreciated, and thank you. I'd also like to thank those of you a nice little rooftop bar over there, who have made one-time donations. We've gotten a new Patreon supporter and a return one-time donation, if that's a thing, and this week. And it really helps me keep motivated to do these, you know, to get up and out after a long day and share these walks with you. Anywho, I'm gonna keep it on here. I'm not sure what the deal is with this building. It's actually kind of thin, but I do like the European style facade there. I think the bottom is an office and the upstairs looks like it's residential though. This is the Lewis and Clark Library here in Helena. Their local public library. We're gonna go up one more, about a half block. Mountain biking is a big thing here. They've got a lot of great access to trails. In fact, I didn't call it out, but right where we started, there's a little pickup place, and they run a trailer shuttle where you can put your bike on the trailer, get in the van, and they'll take you up to some trails for mountain biking. We went and hiked in the, what do you call it? The scratch gravel hills this morning, which has a bunch of trails, which are apparently pretty good for mountain biking. Certainly steep, but in places, but also some really nice open ponderosa pine forest, which is nice. Oh, I do want to take you over one other place. See, this is the serendipity. It's really not serendipity as much as lack of planning. Reader's Alley. We're going to go up to Reader's Alley real quick. It's a historic area. I should tell you then that Helena, it's a small to mid-sized city here in Montana. It's a mid-sized city here in Montana, small to mid-sized city elsewhere. And it's the capital city. Been around since the 1800s. And Last Chance Gulch is because they discovered gold here. And then, what else? So eventually it became the capital. There's a big fight between it being here and Butte and Anaconda. And capital ended up here. But Reader's Alley has some old shops, old pioneer buildings from back in the day. There's also a couple restaurants, I think one barbecue place anyway, and Visit Helena is up here. Visitor Center. Great hill for skateboarding. Hi there. But really kind of a pretty quiet area. So here's Visit Montana Visitor Center. If you have any questions or want to get some information about what to see around here, of course, check them out. And in fact, there while we're here, also check out travelingmail.com. Speaking of .coms, look at these cool buildings. This is a hilly area. See, look at this. We'll get that view in a second. Let me see. Pottery. What do we got here? Oh yeah, here's a barbecue place. Well, I was going to turn around and go that way. I'll give you a quick view, and then we'll go explore this barbecue place. Yeah, kind of reminds me, for some reason, of Golden, Colorado, along the river there. Isn't this cool? We'll see some more grander, but newer buildings in a little bit. All right.
Hi.
Hi there. Excuse me.
This one is yours. This was it was right in front of yours. Oh yeah.
This must be a barbecue place. Oh no.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank
Have
you
a good
so
one.
much.
Take care.
You do the same.
Maybe we can get down over here. I don't think so. Oh, maybe. Nope. Guess we're going back the way we came.
Excuse me. Or something, they're gonna close.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. That's sort of the deal on these walks. Sometimes we have to retrace our steps when we go on little jaunts of side quests of discovery, I guess. Oh yeah, speaking of .com, citywalksvirtualtours.com. You can find these walks and search by location and walk time. So I hope you'll check that out. And links to like Patreon and PayPal and Ko-fi are all in the description, YouTube description. So Last Chance Gulch, this is obviously a gulch that runs out of the hills, and they found gold back here in the day. I meant to look up a lot more of that, but the day got away from us. Like I said, we went hiking We went paddleboarding. We went out to dinner and doing a lot of photography and that sort of thing for Visit Helena and for Traveling Mel. But I am excited to get back to a city. It's kind of nice to put some more city and city walks. So we will cross over here. And so we're kind of looking east, and the Capitol is several blocks, the Capitol building is several blocks that way. I've started out quite a few walks over there. I've even done a interior tour of the Capitol building. Very accessible to the public. You know, no particular security, strict security. I don't know what this is. Park Avenue building. I don't know what it's for. Looks kind of like a library, but the library is off to the left. This, I believe, is Pioneer Park. Little playground. Great place for a picnic. We had a picnic over here the other day. Oh, so my plan. My plan here is to loop around, go back along Last Chance Gulch for at least part of it, and then loop up back over to the left to a place we have not walked before, just because we were driving around and I realized that I hadn't been up there, and there's some nice little residential areas up there. One of the things I love about this channel is your comments, so if you have any information that I missed, or mistakes that I made, or specific memories from Helena, please let me know in the comments. I do enjoy reading those. I enjoy interacting with you guys. So, thank you. This little park off to the right is Anchor Park. I don't know whether, I mean, they have a big anchor and a propeller up there. I don't know what that's from. That's probably from a Navy ship. Probably named USS Montana or the Helena. I actually haven't ever been up there. So they've got a little stream bed that runs through this block, and this section isn't running for some reason, but and there's this other section, but further down it is. We'll see that in a little bit. I'll show it to you. They've got all sorts of places to sit. Here's some chess tables. They have outdoor seating for restaurants, but also just general public seating. So if you want to get takeout or carry out, you can do that. They've got a couple places for kids to play, which is fun. There we go. Got at least 2 more breweries down here, tap houses. Here's the Brothers Tap Works. Nice Toy Story off to the right here. Lasso the Moon.
Wow, that's not worth.
We even have a dentistry place over here. An old trolley car. Off to the right is the Windbag Saloon. Obviously people out there enjoying their evening. It's actually pretty quiet right now because it's a Tuesday after Memorial Day weekend, so a lot of people have already had their big weekend. Several of them are still able to get out. Here's the creek I was mentioning. Totally artificial, but there used to be a creek in here. And then, of course, it goes over here. And then we'll get down to a sculpture of a sluice box to call back to the mining heritage. This is sort of the oldest area of Helena, I believe. And it has a lot of these old 19th century buildings, which I really enjoy. It's a weird melange, though, a weird mixture of new and old. For instance, this building over here is not old, but the one next to it is. You've got this building across the way with this great mural that we can't quite see. This is where we started up, and there's that trail rider pickup. So here you've got this sort of 80s style, and then this, I don't know what the cornerstone of that is. Let's see, it's probably 1800s, early 1900s. And next to it is another one. Beautiful. Look at these lilacs too. Isn't that great? Little pocket park. They have outdoor events. Little stage there. And then off to the left you have the Doubletree Hotel here. Obviously another modern edifice. A couple, I think that's a spa, and then you've got Taco del Sol, which is sort of a Montana, I wouldn't call it a chain. There's 2 or 3 or 4 restaurants around the state. Some open picnic tables for people that want to eat out here. There's 1886, I think, is in that building on that. And then this is a statue for the bullwhacker, is what it's called. It looks a little bit like maybe he was a fly fisher, but it's a it dates back to the gold rush day, and the oxen carts that would haul stuff around. And here's a little playground for kids. We've seen quite a few of them walking around playing earlier this evening, because further down the block is the Big Dipper ice cream. I think the Big Dipper started in Missoula, but they've got one here. They've got one in Billings. Strangely, they don't have one in Bozeman. I love this old building. I think it's empty right now. But, then across the street is, just the standard brick 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. Off to the left in the New York block is, it's weird they call them blocks. Anyway, it's the, 10 Mile Creek Brewing. And then there's a bottle shop next door. But you see the power block up there, and then the New York block on the overhang here. I'm not sure what that really refers to. The Rialto Fountain Lunch Club Room. And then you've got a parking garage off to the right here. Goodkin Block. Off to the left, I'll show you over here. This is the Big Dipper ice cream. Pretty good stuff. We are actually going to make a left here. This continues on. There's 2 one-way streets. There's some nice buildings up there, including the Holter, I think it's a Holter Art Museum. But we're going to come up here and start going up into the place, try to get up into some of the areas that I haven't filmed before. Something for the Governor's Cup, and I don't know what that is. We were wondering about that earlier. So if we keep going down this direction, here, yeah, so you see a busy street, and then it gets into some more pedestrianized area, and then at the end you get a little museum and a carousel and another hotel and some more restaurants. So I've walked down there before. In fact, I've walked here before, but we're going to head up the street, which I can never remember the name of this street. Oh, we're on 6th. Should be pretty easy. I thought it was something else. Love this building. The windows up top, the porticos, loggia. And then we've got on the other side this ultra modern carved concrete parking garage. And I guess you got to have parking, but sure would be cooler if they had more of these old buildings. Butte's good for that. And, you know, it's Butte, which I would kind of liken to Bruges in some ways, in that the economic situation changed in a way that didn't incentivize tearing down old buildings and building new ones. And so we get to enjoy these older buildings, which I guess is a little selfish, but I'm okay with that. Okay, this is Park, and I think I'm gonna cut across. So we kind of came from down there. This is the City County building. Also a pretty cool little structure. Look at the light, isn't that great? You can see some of the older buildings, the double tree. Back that way. Unfortunately, some of this is going to be directly into the sun. I don't think we've walked up here before. We are on Clark, Lewis and Clark. The Missouri River comes through right near here, and a lot of stuff. They follow that, and I think both directions in their core of discovery. We're gonna make a left on Benton, and we went on this tour of this area, Gates of the Mountain, which is this beautiful canyon, and now there's a lake because they dammed it up, but it's still really beautiful. And it's just about from there down to the Craig area is just a beautiful, super dramatic, it's just scenery. It's just gorgeous. And it's not like super giant, tall mountains. They're really tight and narrow and steep. And it's like a diorama because it's so open. It's really cool. Look at the lilacs. I think they're about a week or two behind on their lilacs, at least in terms of blooming, from Livingston. These old lilacs. Love these old houses. This is Ming Place off to the right. All right, well, we'll just keep along here. It's always, I haven't looked at the map. Whoa, look at this building. This old mansion. Look, I haven't looked at the map, so I'm not really sure if this is going to work out for us or not. But look at this. It's already working out. Look at that. I love that. I'm going to take a picture of that. Isn't that great? But even these other smaller buildings aren't cute, you know? And they're built onto this hillside. Can't remember if I mentioned this in last week's video, but my dad and I were talking about, I don't forget exactly, but it came up, he mentioned he'd read somewhere about awe, the sense of awe, and I've read articles about how we should try to foment a sense of awe within ourselves, and the light tonight gives a sense of awe, and then or even small things like the flowers or song of birds or whatever, and that creates a sense of gratitude, and gratitude brings some happiness. We're going to go up Adams since Benton dead ends down there. It's a neat building. I think some of these are split up into apartment units. I'll get on the sidewalk. Try to stay in the shadow as much as possible. So we're getting some temperatures into the high 70s, and people are already starting to complain a little bit about how hot it is because our barometer, not a barometer, but our standard temperature is much lower. Hi there, pup. How are you? Hi. I think he's got a bark collar on and would very much like to bark at us, but he's being a good dog. So that's, I think, Mount Helen up there. A bunch of trails as well. Great place to hike right in your town. Awesome. So we're going to make a right on Jefferson as we leave Adams. Kind of reminds me of Corning, New York, and the type of houses and the hilliness of it and how quiet it is. You know, you do enough of these walks and you start to get these sort of similarities and stuff. And it's not, look at this place, this is beautiful. Lovely, lovely house. And that, just calming. Not to take away from each place's uniqueness, but I think we're evolved to find similarities and differences. One of the nice things about filming in the early morning or later evening in these residential areas is you can do what I'm doing right now and just walk down the middle of the street. Back on Ming. I think I'm going to cut back right. Oh, you can see the cathedral, the Catholic cathedral down there in the light. Isn't that beautiful? You can also see the mountains rising up in the distance. That's the other side of the Missouri River Valley. There are several. The Missouri is very much a dammed river, and those dams provide hydropower in most cases, I think, but also water for irrigation. And as you get further down, water for navigation. It's a major thoroughfare for shipping grain and other products out east, because you get to, once you get navigable, it leads into the Mississippi. Look at these old buildings. I just want to share with you the smell right now. We hear these birds, right? That's probably a robin. But the smell of these lilacs and other flowers. Like, look at this place. Love that little porch. This is Washington. Let's go down Washington a block, since this is so nice. Take a quick look back the way we came there. Not the way we came, but the way we're not going. Yes. Isn't this nice? Look at this place. That's been well cared for. And we're coming up on Hamilton. Gonna make a right on Hamilton. I've talked about this before, but look at these lilacs. I really do enjoy exploring these neighborhoods and seeing how people live. And it's not just, look at this place. Oh, look at that porch. Not just how people live, but how the city has evolved, right? So we see these old, lovely buildings as we come up on back to Clark, and these smaller, more modest dwellings, modest houses. Some of them are sort of new. People out having a little walk. Let's make a left on Clark. What do you say? Look at this house. How gorgeous is that? Coming up on Howie Street. We're gonna go right. In my never-ending quest to figure out what makes these videos popular or not popular, i.e. the algorithm, although that's not quite what I'm describing here. I went back and looked at some of the older videos and realized that maybe I wasn't talking quite as much. I wasn't quiet, I wasn't silent. Oh my gosh, look at these houses. These are amazing. But, oh, and that smell of those oh, this is just, look at this. This is amazing. Anyway, I'm easily distracted. I'm trying to, the irony does not escape me here, maybe speak a little less and let the views and the visuals speak for themselves. Love seeing people just hanging out on their porches and street corners, and neighbors talking to neighbors. It's wonderful. We're on Lawrence and we're crossing Madison. this place. I think part of what makes this little area so nice are the mature trees and just the canopy. We've spoken of that ad nauseum. Maybe not ad nauseum, but plenty. It really does make a difference. We're going to make a right on Harrison. Seems to be a little school off to the right. Hawthorne Hawks. Guessing that's a grade school, elementary school. Oh, those lilacs are just delightful. So pungent. Coming up on Holter, and we're still walking along Harrison. That is a vocal magpie. This guy over here. Oh man. Now I've always walked on the other side of the gulch, between the Capitol and Last Chance Gulch. And I had no idea these massive buildings were up here. Massive mansions. Beautiful, beautiful neighborhood. There's, back in the heyday of mining and timber, etc. This place. There's a lot of money coming through here, and if you've seen the show 1923, I don't think that really takes place in Helena so much, but I mean, look at this place. But it has some mining wealth, timber wealth, resource extraction wealth, and not just gold, right? It was also very much copper in Butte, and anything they could pull out of the ground, of course, uh-oh, hot rodder. You know, that's what you did. And it was a boom town, boom time. A lot of mistakes were made, in my opinion, and hopefully we've learned from those a lot. We just were able to recently stop a gold mine going in on the doorstep to Yellowstone down in Paradise Valley a couple years ago, which was a huge relief. You know, on the other hand, there's a palladium mine in the Stillwater, and they've done a great job of being good neighbors to the locals and keeping things clean, and got a great environmental record and a really small footprint. Tudor-esque type place. Look at the stone they use too. What a rough stone. Interesting. Oh my gosh, look at these places, man. Look at this place over here. And I love these big, I've said this before too, love these big covered porches. You know, these were porches that were meant to be used to be sat out upon, and you know, they're much more social and welcoming, and this is flowery, what that is, and we're gonna make it right here, just because, oh my gosh, sorry, this is really fun for me. Yeah, anyway, Stillwater Mine, good job, kudos. Look at that place over there. Seriously, this is a little bit blowing my mind here. Let's get the photo. Love it. I don't know, is this a Queen Anne style maybe? All the detail of the woodwork and those shingles. Oh, very cool. Love it. I'm gonna spin you around too. Very cool. Very cool. We're gonna make a left on Madison just because there's so many. Well, it's hard to pick. Let's just be honest. It's hard to pick which street, because all these streets, we go down here and then we're gonna turn around and come back. That's what we'll do. All these streets have these amazing buildings on them, these amazing homes. And I think part of what's astounding to me is I just didn't understand that these were up here. On the other side of the gulch, over by the cathedral where we looked, and there's also the governor's mansion over there, and there's some pretty old houses, but nothing like this. Right? This is just crazy. I love it. This is like something back east, you know, like in Providence or something. I just want to share this thing over here. This is the Samuel T. Hauser Mansion. Oh, I have to think it has something to do with Hauser Lake as well, and Hauser Dam. Look at that. And this place over here, look at that loggia up top. On this one, I think you can see it. Sort of third story porch. Oh my goodness. All right, we're gonna turn around. We'll go over here and see this. Just 'cause. This is Stewart and Madison, the roads. Because look at this. This is blowing my mind. All right, so in what world does that house look small? And I just want to be clear here. I'm not celebrating the wealth, although I'm a little envious of that, to be sure. I'm celebrating just the beauty of it. It really is enjoyable for me to see that kind of artistic, architectural details and historical remnants, that are still around, all in this beautiful evening light with all the lilac scent. And what are these? Is this forsythia along here? They're starting to have some flowers too. I think what I'm trying to do is make my way down to I think it's the community center or the Civic Center. But I keep getting distracted by all these buildings, all these old mansions. Back on Flowery. We're gonna walk down the middle of the street again because we can. And because it gives a better view for the camera. Our kids are teenagers and about getting ready to go off to college, and when they were little, we do the social media thing. And Traveling Mel, my wife, is a content creator, what some might call an influencer back in the day. But one of her colleagues would say to their kids now, when they'd go out to dinner or something, and it's going to sound bad because of all the baggage that comes with that sort of term and the snideness of it. But so now remember, the camera always eats first when the dishes come out. So she'd have to get a picture first before the kids could eat. And we did that too, for sure. But, it's marketing, and the kids are taking part in that. Dearborn here. And I know there's a lot of, let's go this way, right on Dearborn. A lot of ethical things to think about there, but I like to think of it as one, farm kids 100 years ago, they were put to work, still are. And nobody really complains about that. Look at this. Look at those porches. Also, for the influencer stuff, nobody complains about, thinks it's unattractive or complains about taking out an ad in a newspaper or a magazine. And it's no different than having someone publish their photos on an Instagram feed. It's really not any different. I think the folks that gave it a bad name were the ones that had very few followers and making big promises and expecting or asking a lot, an unreasonable amount. Anyway, it's my little perambulation pontification for the night. We're gonna time this out just right, I think. Ooh, look at this little garden. Little canoe. It's barely even a garden, it just sort of has been left to its own devices, and it's worked out well. Okay, we are getting back to Benton, and then I think it's Park as well as the busy one beyond that. But we're also getting down to the Civic Center. I think it's the Civic Center. Yep. There we go, the Helena Civic Center. And it's got this kind of Shriner, Middle Eastern design. And it's the Algeria Shrine Temple as well, which is what it was, I think, in the 1920s. It's called the Moorish Revival. And it was a meeting hall for the Shriners and has since become a civic center, a publicly owned building. Hence the Middle Eastern design, Moorish Revival. All right, we're getting back to the loud time here. And if you look down there, you can see sort of that lowest point is still the Immigrant Gulch, or Last Chance Gulch. And then sticking up in the bright sunlight there, the evening sunlight, is the cathedral. And so we're gonna call it at 50-something minutes here. And I want to thank you guys for joining me on this, such a beautiful walk. I wasn't even sure I was gonna get time to do this. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad we checked out another place, another area of Helena. And I hope you'll enjoy me again for more explorations and nature walks as well as city walks. Until then, check out the website, check out the Instagram, the Facebook page that I forgot to mention. And until then, keep on stepping.